Welcome to Zephyr Yoga Inspiration. I offer these podcasts for free, and your support really does make a difference and is appreciated. To make a donation, please click the link in the episode description or visit zephyryoga.com. Welcome everyone to practice. As most of you know, we're coming to the end of practicing with these Vayus. We're on our fifth Vayu, Udana Vayu, which is that movement of Prana, our life force that moves upwards, ascending that radiant life force up and over from our heart and like a cobra hoodie over our head. Now, just to kind of backtrack to kind of how I started this series was introducing that yoga is that science of self-realization, or in other terms, enlightenment, by cultivating self-awareness and by practicing said sutras 134 to 139, that we focus our concentration, our attention on first breath awareness, then sensation, cultivating light as a focal point, then stabilizing the mind by using mantra usually, and then awakening to moment by moment awareness. We can use anything to focus our attention. Now, Tantra is that science of prana power, this cultivation of siddhi, certain supernatural powers, in the hopes of experiencing moksha, which yoga is the same, creating this freedom, this liberation, this lasting fulfillment and contentment, that wholeness of being, that ability to rest in the self as the self, that samadhi state. So both yoga and tantra are working for the same goal, but they just have different approaches. And as you know, I try to weave both approaches in. So with our focused attention on breath awareness, sensation, light, stabilizing the mind by using mantra, the yogic approach, the Tantra is by weaving asana, pranayama, mudra, kriya, mantra, as well as kind of symbolic imagery, as well as deities in practice. So to turn this all into a digestible experience of working with Udana, Udana is said to be that movement of prana from the top of your heart, the base of the throat, that comes up, ascending upwards. And it's active primarily in the region between the heart and the head. And it is said that it brings prana to the energy center from your heart to your Ajna chakra. And Ajna chakra is said to take your consciousness from the kind of lower realms to the higher realms. And, the Udana is that movement of opening one's self-awareness, opening your consciousness to a field of a greater state. So it's also said that it works from your waking state to sleeping. It transitions you from sleeping to dreaming, from dreaming to the deepest dreamless state, which we call in yoga turiya. And that is that higher plane of existence where you lose all self-referencing point. You are in that eternal bosom of all consciousness. You return home. And so that way of connecting to consciousness by using Udana is another way of starting to kind of work in a tantric way of, we practice yoga, we are on our mat doing asana, pranayama, but we're trying to train our mind to focus, harmonizing the physical and subtle bodies, to awaken to moment by moment awareness, and to have this experience of peace, of serenity, of, this sense of feeling safe within ourselves, of feeling connected, of belonging to not only our bodies, but to the world around us. So when we are working in this very tantric way, Udana is closely linked with this Kundalini Shakti, because in this sense of experiencing Turiya, from waking, all the steps to Turiya, is that what we're trying to do is connect to this Kundalini Shakti, which is said to be a serpent that is wrapped around her Shiva Lingam 3.5 times at your Muladhara. And as we open the physical and subtle channels, we're trying to draw her up this creative, blissful consciousness of dormant, enlightened energy, travel her up the Sushumna, piercing through different chakras as she wakes you up along her journey, transitioning you either to enlightenment or to death. And Udana is this upward ascension of this consciousness. And it is kind of like, that's quite nice. I get an option of, if I awaken Kundalini, either enlightenment or death. But it is more about this sense of, we touch that space which is beyond our life every time we go into deep, deep dreamless sleep. We are reunited with that consciousness of effortlessly being. So with this movement of Kundalini, what we're trying to do is connect to what we truly are. And our practice is going to be one of introducing So Hum in a mental state. We're going to mentally do So Hum. I am that consciousness, that wakefulness, that yoga says I am, that consciousness. And in Tantra, I'm going to create this prana power to fuel this consciousness to awaken to herself. And so Hum is that meaning, I am that consciousness that is effortlessly perceiving my body move, breathe, feel, think, and express herself as her. So whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. It's that Shakti, it's that creative enlightened power of yourself. So Udana is said to be associated with the throat, Vishuddhana chakra, which is all about self-expression, of using your unique resonance and sound to be able to clearly express yourself. And that Udana is that power that governs speech and other refined expressions out through the mouth, kind of like burping, chanting, and using sounds to kind of express yourself and this creative energy. It's also associated with governing your metabolism and growth in that way in which we stimulate sensations and hydrate the throat area where our thyroid and parathyroid actually live. And so there is this sense of, from your heart, your thalamus gland, which is linked to your immune system, as well as your thyroid in your metabolism and how you grow in your life. But there is this energy of, from your heart, expressing this sound and vibration, this pulse, this wave of consciousness up and out. So as we focus our mind in practice and concentrate on Udana, the results is said that it leaves us feeling very connected, balanced, very strong, and that we stand tall with this integrity as we feel this flow of energy lift up and over. The presence of Udana flowing through you is that you feel joyous, enthusiastic, creative, alert, articulate, but also this ability to have strong visions, to be able to see in a wider field, and to have these epiphanies, these insights, these revelations. So going back to the Yoga Sutras and the yoga, which is kind of, these sutras are kind of our Bible or our guide to understand these techniques and how to reach enlightenment or self-realization. Patanjali is always depicted as a man with a man's torso and arms, but his, from the waist down, is a serpent. And it's kind of showing that he has a great amount of presence of this Kundalini as he is the lower body of this snake. And with that, His arms are usually cast up like so in this upward movement, but more importantly, he has this massive cobra hoodie, which kind of shows how much Udana power of this creative insight and expression of what is revealed to him and how he communicates that. And at every point, he has 1,000 little serpent heads singing the sutras, which is this amazing kind of imagery and symbolic way of his power of self-realization and enlightenment and this creative feminine force, yet his ability to communicate that. So, like I was saying in the beginning of this series, that if you have a lot of knowledge and not a lot of power, you're ineffective. But if you have a lot of power and not a lot of knowledge, you're actually quite dangerous. So yoga and tantra is to cultivate this knowledge and this power to effectively, weave these tools and techniques. So by the results of said practice, you will leave here feeling quite awakened, present, feeling quite empowered, and having the tools to skillfully navigate your life. So with all that being said, we will practice. We're going to be working with Om in between the kramas, and this is really for you to create this vibration around Vishuddhana, but mainly you'll feel the Om start from the top of your heart, and that Om opening your throat, and then the you'll feel at the top of the head. So it's kind of clearing the physical and subtle pathways so you can focus on Udana. Mentally, we're going to be chanting Soham to shape your prana pattern, to balance out the other Vayus, but give you that access to Udana again. At the end of the practice, we'll flip the mantra to be Hum Sa, that am I. Again, noticing the change of how to use mantra and to create a different experience of how to utilize Udana Vayu in your practice. We'll create Mahabandha, Mahamudra. We'll do certain kriyas in this practice. So weaving all in hopes to have said result of feeling this lasting fulfillment, contentment, and liberation from whatever is causing you pain and suffering this morning.
If you would like to continue to practice, find out more information about the topics discussed, or to donate to this podcast, please visit zephyryoga.com or follow the link in the episode description. I thank you.